Positives. Jeremy,
We're
take it
live.
away, brother. Yeah, we are live. We're totally live.
We've
We're
got
gonna
all
monitor
of two
comments.
people watching, which is amazing.
That is all of us.
Well, since we're
Um,
live, and if you don't mind, gentlemen, I'm going to take this to a direction I want to go to, because what I love about what we do and the conversation we have are it's forever. I don't know how to explain it, man. We constantly talk. Like, people don't see the conversations we have off air, right?
Right.
So we're constantly talking, constantly like developing these ideas. And one of the things which I love about Adam Walton, he throws this post up there, and this is going to lead us into today's topic. It says there's a game being played here. Some of us can see it. The others idolize the oppressors as the hero. And there's this little meme. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go to Adam Walton's Facebook page. It's awesome. And I'm telling you, it's one of these pages I love going and checking out, because it's like, wow, okay. First, a couple different thoughts. First of all, did he actually do that? Number two is, I love that idea. Number three is, it makes me think. So the meme is, says poverty exists not because we cannot feed the poor, but because we cannot satisfy the rich. And real quick before you get into it, because I know for both of you guys, this is a huge topic. This is something that hits home with me. And again, I want you to take this over, but I want both of you guys to kind of think about this, where, man, religion just I was born and raised Catholic my entire life. I went through, K through 8, went through, all my kids are baptized, and you see photos like that about, the rich and the poor and paying for the poor. And then you see the church, St. Peter's Church, burning down, or no, the Cathedral of Notre Dame burning down to the ground, and all these people donating money supporting. I don't know if that's guilt. I don't know if that's makes people feel good, but the Catholic Church and religions in general have tons of money. They don't need us. So what's that reality? What does that reality look like? Is it a reality when you go down to the base person saying, I feel better when I donate 10% of my income to an organization that is gigantic? Does it make me feel good? Is that my reality? Does my reality make me feel more important? Like I'm giving back because, and again, I'm throwing you guys all kinds of random stuff here. The other thing about that is that it's the religious people that, they're the nicest people at church, but the worst people out of church. What is that reality? What is reality? And then that's what wears me out, because I believe, for me, man, hey, reality is what I believe in. It's what I do every single day. And I take things with a grain of salt. I react according to what I believe and what I actually think for myself, not what society has told me. That's a long introduction. And I know I quoted you Adam first, but I want to get into Brandon Hanley from Fatherhood from the rest of us. Tell us a little bit about what you think about what I just mentioned there about reality, and maybe you can turn it into a little bit of this religion thing. Maybe.
Well, I know that we teed it up earlier. We had a conversation talking about
we're cheating on Adam. We're cheating on Adam.
Adam a little bit, where Adam has some really good stuff. But Adam made that post today, and man, I had to hold back. Adam, I had to hold back just because, like, I don't feel like having. Sometimes you just don't feel like having a conversation with people. Sometimes, and like,
that's real.
Sometimes it just gets wore out, right? So if you're all familiar, I know that Jeremy, I know you're familiar with. I went through Science of Getting Rich last year, and I was like, this book opened up my eyes, man. This book was like, so just the very fact that Adam's like, prosperity, rich people, there's nothing but prosperity.
Just on the quick note, I never said
you sound good today. You sound good today, by the way.
Also,
you sound good.
Thank you. Yeah, I did a little bit of effort on that.
Yeah.
Secondarily, when I'm not saying there's no prosperity and rich people. I didn't make that personal connection, and I lost my second point.
Well, listen, it was like do the rich people?
You said I didn't want to have that conversation. In other words,
Jeremy threw some fucking gasoline on it, dude. Jeremy's like, hey, guess what? I
know, but what makes me laugh is that you implied that I was digging at you, and I
Oh,
wasn't
no, I
until
didn't
I
imply
was
that at all.
when
No,
I
no.
quoted space in one of the topics.
Oh no.
But yeah,
So we got into Adam and I were like, Adam's been making these posts about space and whatnot, and and like flat Earth and all this stuff, and I don't know that I implied that it was directly related to me or anything like that, but like my question was like, you've been kind of you've been sharing this information a lot. I'm like, well, what happens if I decide that I agree with everything that you're saying? What then? What happens? Or even if you're even making a statement, right? So you're talking about flat Earth. Is there even a space? The whole like science of the water should be falling out of a tipped cup, and all these random things, and they're all valid points, I'm sure, on their own. I mean, but my real question is like, all right, let's just say, for example, you could convince me that Earth is flat. Sure. Look, and I'm down for it. Like, I mean,
the other way too.
But right. So so convince me that the world's flat. But what is that doing for my life, well-being, and caritude?
well, you hit two major points. Caritude.
I don't really know what that means.
you hit two major points on that, though. You said, "Prove to me that the Earth is flat." Well, aside from what you can observe, prove to me that the Earth is round. You can take a tennis ball, go outside, stick it in water, fling it in the air, and water's going to fly off it. Yeah, when you get big enough, it sticks to it. That's the physics of a globe Earth. I don't want to talk per se about flat Earth because that is a topic that we can go over and over and over again. Water's contained. Water always seeks its own level. You can't. There's no. Water doesn't bend. Water just doesn't bend. It doesn't happen.
But even I don't care. So
exactly.
Now what? So I mean,
But here's the thing. Here's the most beautiful thing about all of this. Not caring is the key, right? But you have to care a shitload. You have to care a lot to get to the other side of caring. And when you put it, because you have to care so much that you don't care anymore. And without caring, you've never cared enough about something to not care, because not caring isn't giving up. Not caring is comprehending. Not caring about a topic like this. I mean, I don't care what shape the Earth is.
right.
What it has brought up is the story. So you talked about the science of getting rich and how that
prosperity. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sure.
You mentioned something. As you also said earlier in this conversation, the conversation that we have goes on. I like the tagline on IGTV. It's just called The Conversation because it's just people getting a glimpse at what we're doing. But the conversation that you had said was something that brought me. It was Plato's Cave. Plato's Cave brought me to the butterfly thing. Which in turn brought me to Jed McKenna. And Jed McKenna is, I wouldn't say blowing my mind, but Jed McKenna is speaking my language. And Jed McKenna.
Is he the older school guy? Like he's he's in the space like the 80s, 70s, 80s.
I don't know enough about him to quote sort of where he is. Actually, I know that he lives in a mountain cabin with his dog, and he's given up on this.
He doesn't care.
Exactly, because this also parlays into reality, right? You can go and what you said earlier. I don't want to get into that argument. I don't want to get into that fight. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't care if the Earth is a globe. I don't care if it's this. These are all absolute truths. And when Jeremy said, what is my reality? What is the church doing? What is happening with the donations in the church and the rich getting richer? I didn't make that meme. I take things that resonate with me and I expand upon them. So all the pictures that I do post are they're good, but usually I have my own caption up there, and I don't say anything definitive. My stuff is just designed to primarily make you think. So reality is what you perceive it. Jed McKenna speaks of that. And I've had the conversation with you guys about consciousness. The one thing that you can absolutely be sure of is that you're conscious. You you have a conscious. You exist. Everything else is meant for observational purposes. So when we talked about, sort of, I mean, you've put me on. I've got so many things I want to say now because you've you've said so many things that I all the world is a stage. All the world is an absolute stage, and that's a saying that we've heard 1,000 times over. So poverty is a stage. The elite are a stage, and in the picture is a picture of the Rothschilds and the Pope and the Queen. Anyone that's dug into this realm comprehends that those three are symbolic of absolute evil. And I'm sorry that you grew up Catholic, but I'm not knocking any Catholics because these are the realities that we are faced. Now, Catholicism for me pushed me away from religion. Christianity on the other side brought me back to it. And then I had my misgivings with Christianity as well. So when people are hunting, when people are looking, when people are absolutely attempting to procure an idea, no matter what that idea is, when they have it, and no matter how hard they think about any of it, all of it at the time with the new information is your reality. And your reality is true. There's a saying that goes something along the lines of, reality is happening, but it's different for every observer. So we are all observing it at our own pace and of our own volition and with our own intent and message put onto it. An example of that would be every single person listening to this, well, 99% of them at one point in their life believed in Santa Claus, actively believed that a dude was flying around dropping shit off into people's houses.
That's
But,
it's a good man.
sometimes to the young kids listening to this, I'm sorry that you heard it from here, but we have that realization, like, wait a minute, it's a lot of houses. And then an adult, bastards, step up and say, well, there's time zones, so it's okay because he can do it all in different time zones. And we accept that. But then new information comes again. And how does he fit down the chimney? He's a big dude. I got a tiny chimney, and then the parents say, oh, well, he came in the back door this time, so all of our realities, and every single person hears a different story. And to each child out there, that is the reality that they're faced with. That is the truth. Santa Claus exists, and whatever their parents say about him is the truth. So when we are told a story from our parents, it could be the lie that was told to them. It could be the misinformation that was given to them that they're handing down to us unwillingly or unknowingly. And that is their story becoming our story.
Hold on a second.
Talks about
I think you missed a key thing there. It's just that it's not the Santa Claus thing that you're talking about gets passed on to us, like maybe unwillingly and unmeaningfully. It's our reality, and that gets passed on to us unknowingly and the parents don't realize what they're teaching us or what they're keeping us from, or they're passing on their own personal beliefs and their personal limitations and whatsoever, and we pick those up. Is that what you're saying?
Essentially, I was going to dive into Kiyosaki when he talks about rich dad, poor dad. Mm-hmm. The rich don't get rich because their parents hand them money. The rich kids of the rich parents stay wealthy because of the ideologies that the parents hand the kids. Now, I don't want to cut anything out here, but it appears that we're all on standby. Is there a dead link, or are we still live?
No, you're still going. You're still going. I see everything looking good.
Okay, just wanted to check that out.
Keep it rolling, brother.
So that was primarily kind of where I was going with that. I mean, we can talk night and day about flat Earth and about the dirty rich and about the Catholics and about the Rothschilds and all this sort of stuff, right? And then we can think to ourselves, what does it really mean? Jed McKenna says, I thought myself to death and then walked away because that then became my reality, and I didn't need to worry about it because I thought it to death and I cared about it to death. And then he created his reality, and then in doing so, and in creating your reality and consciously creating your reality, being aware of your reality allows you to control your reality. Even though you've always been in control of your reality, it's like taking your life into a lucid dream. That moment in the dream where you actually know that you're dreaming for that 5 minutes before you wake up, that is what the reality is. And people can say that's absolute garbage. But take a look at this. We sit here, and I'm gonna stop at the end of this point because I've taken up a lot of mic space. We sit here right now in conversation that is broadcast over podcast, that is broadcast over Facebook Live, that is taking on. People are listening to this. People are paying attention to this. Some people are turning it off. Most people aren't because we're all amazing. But I believe that. We created this. This was an idea that stemmed and started and hummed and hawed, and the three of us put together our heads and took our realities and created this. So when we say, I didn't create this, you did. When your cable bill gets cut, I have a funny story, actually. I said I was going to cut this short, but I'm not. I'm going to cut this
hold on, brother. Hold on. Let Jeremy jump in for a second. Jeremy, because you've said several things in what you're saying, right? Jeremy, what do you got on your take of kind of what Adam's throwing out there at us? Because that was a lot.
Well, it's difficult. I think, we talked about originally when he was saying, and I love the comment that you were born and raised Catholic, and I'm sorry for that. And you know what? I agree with that. It's interesting because when we talk about reality and what I've been through and what I've grown up with, my reality is only what is present at this second. But every decision you make becomes your reality. If that makes any sense or not, I'm not quite sure. But in my own mind, when I hear things like that, hey, I baptized my kids, made them Catholic, whatever. I waved the magic wand, and then poof, they're Catholic. Boom, because we dipped them in water and made them Catholic. But that was the reality at that second, at that time. What does that mean to me in my own mind right now? Is that still reality to me that they're quote unquote Catholic because I did something at that moment of time, 10, 15, or 6, 7, or I got 12, 9, and 7-year-old. Because of that time in reality, I was making my kids Catholic. I don't know if that makes any sense, but in reality now and today, I don't believe that. I don't see that. Because my reality has changed. And I think reality changes based on the information and the things you read, the things you research, the people you talk to. Joe Rogan mentioned this a while ago. I think it's so important for people to change their mind. We talk about flip-floppers in politics. Oh, that guy's a flip-flopper. She's a flip-flopper. I'm a flip-flopper. And maybe they do for different reasons, but I do for reasons when I learn more information about what's reality for me at this time. What I believe now may not be what I believe in 5 or 10 years. I have no idea what that reality looks like. No clue. But my reality to me is present. It's understanding what I've learned to this point in my life, and what I understand and what I believe is my reality. So we've talked about so many topics about church, about McDonald's, the McDonald's episode last time. We talked about mind control. We talked about flat earth. We talked about all kinds of different things. And I think what it boils down to is my reality is what I believe at this exact same time. My reality is going to change, and I believe it's going to change for the good, because the things that come into my mind are only, and again, I think this is mindset, and I think it's, we can get into mindset and belief and what we think of, but I always think that things are good and things are here for a reason. And when I learn things, they're at specific times in my life for a specific reason, because the reality is so present for me that what I believe now is authentic. It's what I truly feel, but it doesn't make reality 10 years from now. I have no idea what that's going to look like. And 10 years from in the past, my reality was way different. This word reality, it's confusing. It's confusing. And for me, there's no answer. I don't know. And that's why it's such a big topic. You throw the word reality out there. Oh yeah. What's reality to you? Reality to me is this monster beast. What you think about reality, God, your reality is so different than mine. What you were grown up with, and what you've read and what you've experienced, good, bad, deaths, happiness, your reality is so different than mine. It's so hard to say this is realistic or this is reality for me, because your reality is completely different. And then what reality is right or what's wrong? and that makes it reality, right? I mean, reality to me and reality to you are so different. It's a big topic, and I didn't mean to lose anybody, but I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys.
Well, listen. I think that, you know, and I always use Google search engine as you know, kind of whatever. If whatever you put into that search engine is what you're going to turn out. But the other side of that is that each walking individual is their own algorithm. Like your algorithm is based solely off of you and your life experiences and the query that you put into it that day. I mean, I can't think of a better way to try and illustrate it.
Well, Google itself is noted as playing off your preferred algorithms. In other words, if I love Mexico and I've done searches on the beautiful spots of Mexico, and you hate it, my Google search at my house will tell me that Mexico is great. If I just punch in Mexico, it'll say it's great.
Sure.
If you punch in Mexico on your computer, things will come up like, don't go to Mexico. There's too many.
I love it. This is what I'm talking about, though. You cultivate your feed. You know, I mean, people wonder and talk about like the internet being like Big Brother and this, that, and the other thing is taking over and cookies are falling everywhere. Remember that time I clicked on something I liked over here and then Amazon popped up and tried to sell it over here. You said you wanted it. That's why it showed up. What's supposed to happen in this world? You know, you said you wanted it.
The weird thing is when you think it and it shows up, that's the creepy shit right there.
But that's what the internet's training you to do. You have the ability to cultivate the feed here, and once you learn how to cultivate it here, maybe you can reapply that out there. I mean, I know it sounds like kind of like this big leap, but it's not a terrible training.
Reality.
No, it's the actual reality of it. You're saying, why is it a big leap to say that if Google's doing it, you're not doing it? You've been doing it your whole life. Most people
haven't been conscious of it, and they're not aware of it. Right.
And they also don't know what reality is. They can't put their finger on reality, as Jeremy said, because they've been lied to about the reality. I mean, we've got shows on TV right now called reality TV, and people think that's reality.
That's a great point.
People think that the Kardashians are real. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal how people will say, you know, you're crazy. You're the way you think is insane. People will flat out tell me that the research I do in my computer is nuts based on the information that they were handed off their television.
Listen, Adam.
So,
planes are crazy too. 100 years ago, you know, floating steel boats 200 years ago, internet, electricity, the lights. I mean, they were all crazy and the devil's work at some time.
Sure, but what's reality, right? That's where it goes back. I mean, I think what Adam's saying, what you're saying, it's so hard to put something on reality. Man, I mean, my reality, maybe I'm having a great day and I'm getting pissed on from above and I think it's rain, right? Someone else's reality, maybe, hey, I'm life sucks, but they're, you know, $1 million yachts. It's all mindset. And Brandon, you and I talked about this a little bit ago, and it's about, you know, these people that have these attitudes where life sucks, life is shitty, life is horrible, and it's the same story they've told for year after year after year, and god dang.
But life is shit for most people. Life is shit. If you think life is shit, life is shit.
Well, you know,
exactly.
Not the other way around.
So I was in a men's group earlier today. It was a dad's group actually, and you know, I guess I don't go there very often. It's not my very own group, but I popped in there for a second, and like somebody was talking about how great their life was, and was telling everybody else in the group, like, why is everybody crying about stuff in here? And then I thought about my own group, Father for the rest of us, and I'm like, oh man, I think we got jacked. We still in there? All right, cool. I lost Jeremy.
I lost
Yeah, I lost Jeremy. Let me see if I can get him back in here. Oh, I got a storm that just hit here. That's probably what's up. I'll keep going though. Wait for Jeremy to come back in. Let me try and get him to come back in here real quick. Let me ping him. But you know, this guy was talking about what a great life he was, and everybody's jumping on him. And then I also thought about Father for the rest of us, and I thought about how exactly what you're saying there is that. Oh shit! Did I lose everything here?
No, it looks like we're still. I've actually just pulled it up on.
It's usually got like a 20-second delay though. So the deal is though, like, I can still hear you, so I guess we're still going. There's people that just keep talking about it and never change anything about it. Then there's people that
Welcome
are just
back,
doing
brother.
that are just doing something and never talking about it.
Did you just?
Are you guys
just
all
ran
in
away
there?
from us? I'm looking at Jeremy right now.
I feel good, buddy. I feel
All right.
good.
You look like you look. I don't know where you went, but you look a lot better now. Fantastic, actually.
Well, my reality changed. That's for damn sure.
That's
for
what-
sure.
He's talking about his reality, and you just buggered off.
I can't even see the screen that I've got us all set up on. But Jeremy, real quick, I was just saying, there's some people that want to complain about their situation but never want to change it. They just want to talk about it and never do anything about
Those
hate
people are
that
called
shit.
assholes.
it.
I absolutely hate it with
Asshole.
passion. Those people, again, I would much rather have someone make mistake after mistake after mistake 50 mistakes in a row, because I know at least something's going to change. It's the people that sits on the sideline and bitches and says, I told you so. Those people wear me out like no one's business. And all three of us, we hear those people constantly. Oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. That's a bunch of bullshit.
You need one of those
now that I
people.
said that out loud, well, you know what? Now that I said that out loud, it's great. It's great. We had this, this therapy session for me. Actually, I did. Adam,
I'll
you
send
kind
my
of,
bill.
you just kind of, you related to that. I need those people. But damn, that is a shitty way to live life, and I'm glad I don't live that life.
You need one of those people. Do not allow yourself to be infiltrated by all of them.
Correct.
But if you're about to embark on something, you need to go talk to Negative Sue and be like, "Hey, this is what I want to do. Why? What do you think?"
Tell me all the reasons why I shouldn't.
Yeah, but you don't want to say that. To her, 'cause you don't want to let her know that you're caught onto her negativity. But if you do ask her, then she'll say stuff like, "Oh, well, you shouldn't." No. You can jot that shit down and be like, "Oh, that's a good point. Maybe I'll have to look into that." Because yeah, exactly. Because
whatever's on the other end of that is what I'm doing.
The constant optimist is like, I can do whatever I want, and you'll run into stuff, and you're like, oh, damn, I didn't see that coming. But Negative Sue, I would have told you that had you asked me. I'm like, all right, well, I'll keep one of you around, but I'm not gonna allow the rest of you to have any interference with my life and with my choices at all. Period. So
there's another line that I've heard more recently than that. It's there's the only thing that's worse than a quitter is the person who never started.
Oh, it's reality, man. Again, we go
I
back to that word.
I love that. The only person worse than a quitter is the person who never started, and that's the person sitting on the sideline being like, "Hey, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that." But you got to do something.
It's the people that are sitting on the sidelines telling us right now how stupid we are. And you know what I'm saying? Oh, this is so dumb. I don't want to watch this. Click.
Right.
Perfect. Please click off. And they're the same people that come click back on. And they always do, right? They always do. They hate it, and then all of a sudden they're your biggest fans. And those people,
you know what the real kick in the pants with that is too. You can't get those guys on the show. Like, hey, I want to do an interview with you.
But you can't.
Talk to your mentality.
Like it like hurts the soul to have that conversation.
Oh no, it would light my fire. I would dive right into that.
That goes back to what you posted earlier today, talking about prosperity and rich and poor and all this other stuff. And it's like, just stop trying to chase down what other people have, because it's not yours. It's no big deal. That's thou shalt not covet, whatever. It's real easy. They tell you that because it's not yours. Go create the reality, Adam, that you're talking about, and make something that is yours of your own making. Right? It's real simple stuff. But I don't think that we think that way, right? We think, I want what he's got because he looks like he's having fun and a great life. Well, he created that for himself. What you need to ask is, how did you create that life for yourself, right? And I think that that's what needs to be done, versus saying, and even on Facebook, people call it fake book. I don't care. Show me the life that you want. That's great, because I don't want your life. I want something maybe like it, but I don't want your specific life. And if I really like what you have going on, I'm going to reach out and say, you know what, I really like what you're doing here. How would you recommend that I go about it? Or maybe even have the conversation, because maybe on the surface, and you see their life that it looks awesome, amazing, and great, but then you have the conversation like, I wouldn't trade my life for your life, not even for a moment.
Well, it goes back to that old scenario where every decision you made to your entire life has put you in this situation. So if you are a complete broke ass, life sucks, everything's shitty. Every decision you made throughout your life has brought you to this point. Your reality is based on what you have decided to do step by step. It's that fork in the road. Which decision did you make? And you made the wrong one, and then you bitch and complain, and you point and, oh, that's this fault, that fault. No, it's your fault. You made these decisions.
As soon as you take the ownership for that, for everything,
most people won't.
Well, as soon as you do, though, as soon as you take the ownership for everything, it changes. Adam, how does it change?
There are layers and layers and layers of blockages that have been put in our way for our benefit. If I gave you all the answers right now, you'd explode.
For sure.
So these walls.
I love that answer. It's perfect.
These walls, and I used to worry because we talked about that stuff, and I used to worry about people thinking that I'm crazy. I actually worried. I'm like, oh, they're going to think you're crazy. And then I'm like, I'm worried that they're going to think I'm crazy. In other words, I'm going to think that they're going to think that I'm crazy, which is crazy, actually. So if I'm worried about what they're thinking, then I'm only thinking about what they're thinking. And the reality is nobody thinks about other people. There's courtesy, and there's niceness, and there's kindnesses, and there's all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's you. It's you, with you, doing you, for you, by you, because of you. It's always been that way. So the things that we want to comprehend, understand, learn, grow, all that sort of stuff, we don't respect. And we don't respect unless we have to work for it. So we have to go through the pains. We have to learn. And there is a purpose for every single person, everywhere, at all times in our lives, just as we are a purpose.
Every man is a lesson. Every man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's an old story that was kind of neat that I picked up on a long time ago, where it said it was a reincarnation analogy, and it said, "Be kind to everybody because everybody is you. You've been reincarnated as many times, and each of these individuals is a version of your life." That's a lot of lives to lead, and it was probably pretty boring in the first little while. It's just you until you showed up. That was great. That was a good day. But that's a thought process, right? So when we talk about arguing, when we talk about knowledge, when we talk about comprehension, one of my all-time favorite sayings is by Wayne Dyer. It says, "The ultimate ignorance of a man is he who." Wayne Dyer's, he's an absolute legend, was anyway, and his what was it? The ultimate ignorance of a man is the denial of something you know nothing about, and the absolute lack of desire to do any research on it. So to denounce something without knowing anything. Now, I will sit here and happily denounce Catholicism. I'm sorry to all the Catholic readers and listeners.
There's a lot of them on here, I promise you.
Yeah, but I won't denounce Christianity. Now, here's the fun thing about that. What I have to say doesn't have any effect on any of you listening right now, unless you want it to. So if I pissed you off by saying Catholicism has issues, then that's on you. That's not on me. These are just my observations. And there's nothing out there that can offend me, because those are your observations. And I appreciate your observations.
I gotta wonder.
And if I have to sift through a bunch of crap to catch on to something that's great, then maybe I will. And that's my loop. That's my comprehension path. I have to deal with the shit to catch the nuggets. As they say, infamous words of Beavis and Butthead, right? You gotta have stuff that sucks to have stuff that's cool.
I disagree with that, by the way. I don't think that it's got to be painful. I don't think there's got to be pain. I don't think that it's got to be hard.
It has to.
Why?
It has to.
Well, that's your reality. So that's your reality. That's what you set yourself up for. Okay.
That's my reality.
Yes, that's what I said.
You've disagreed. You've disagreed with your reality. Therefore, you've interfered with my reality. So I'm hanging up now. Welcome to America, right?
Right. Well, so, but this is what we
But
talked about. This is what you said earlier this week, which I loved, and and I guess it's kind of also where I was leading when I was asking the question of like flat Earth and whatever. I was like, why do I care? Like, what happens once you show me, what your reality is? Once you show me that there's a flat Earth, once all this, and you're like, that's a great thing. We both have our own reality. And I'm like, well, you could have just fucking said that, earlier.
Where's the fun in that?
Where's the fun in
If
that?
my reality can't clash with your reality, then it doesn't matter. If my reality can't show you anything, then it doesn't matter. If your reality can't show me anything, then why are we talking right now?
Here, real quick, I think the biggest thing about this situation is people love to be feel like their reality is the right reality.
It is for
See
them.
that?
That's all. That's all it can be.
Oh, he's gone on my screen. Is he still talking?
Who's Jeremy? Oh, we lost him again.
He's gone. Yeah.
Oh man, he's in and out. That guy. But I mean, look. So that's the truth, right? Reality
I think
is
he's quantum
true
right now.
Reality is true for you, and reality is true for me. My reality is not true for you, and your reality is not true for me.
I've had this conversation 1,000 times over, and the best way to describe it is baseball, right?
Mhm.
Who's your favorite baseball team?
Whatever, Phillies.
Phillies. Okay, so the Phillies and the Jays are playing a game,
Okay, I'm back.
right?
Welcome
Same
back,
game,
dude.
same life, same everything. Welcome
Right.
back, Jeremy. Welcome back to the podcast. This is the positive side.
This is wearing me out, but I've got to tell this point. When we feel like we're, I don't even know where you guys are.
Hey, you guys can shut up
I
now.
don't give a shit because I'm so fired up. And then I'm going, I'm like, son of a bitch. How in the hell did this shit happen? Okay.
Go for it, brother. Did it.
Well, damn it, this is the part about this
I'll finish
reality
this later.
thing, is that we want to defend our own reality. Whether we know it's right, whether we know it's wrong, it doesn't really matter in reality, but it's our reality. So we decide that we're going to be in this pigeonhole. We're going to be Catholic. We're going to be Christianity. We're going to be whatever. You're going to be black, white, Christian, Democrat, Republican, male, female. I don't give a shit what it is. It's this reality that we live in and we own. And then we feel like we have to defend this, defend whatever this reality, quote unquote, reality is, which may or may not be realistic or actually reality. It wears me out to no end.
Jeremy, I think the flip side of that is when you find something that is so amazing, life-changing, and altering, you have to share it with everyone.
But why? But that's the question: is why?
Because
Why? Because
you
get to say, "Hey,
listen,
I'm comparing
why
myself
would you be a
to someone
coach?
else.
Why would you be a coach?
No, Jeremy, you're
Well,
not.
I wanna
comparing
change
yourself.
lives.
You're not doing it for them.
I want to
You're not
change
doing it for
lives."
them. When
Correct.
Right.
But as an individual person, I'm not saying me specifically, but as an individual in the human race or human whatever, when we feel, and I'm talking in generalities big time, when we feel like, oh my gosh, this is my reality, I need to tell someone else about it. Why is that important to do? And why does that make
For you.
But it's the ego. It's the ego coming in and saying, I have to feel
No.
good, so I'm going to tell someone else. That makes me
I used to think that.
it makes me feel better about what I tell somebody else. So it makes my ego, I'm like, oh yeah, so I'm right, so I'm gonna tell this person,
Jeremy,
and I'm
if
gonna
you-
show them why they're right.
When you're coaching and changing lives, what are you
I
doing?
love this. I'm changing lives, brother. That's what I do.
Well, but I
man.
mean,
Changing lives.
You're doing it because they're coming to you asking for information, and it's a lot more.
100%. You're exactly
and,
right.
and it's also like that's how Zen Buddhism used to be, or it would be like you really don't have, and so you'd have somebody come to the monastery or whatever, and you would knock on the door, and the Zen master would be like, I don't have anything to teach you, and the dude coming to the temple would be like, but I really I heard some things, you're really cool, I'm pretty sure you can teach me some things. And the dude, they make him sleep outside, right? Or just lay at the door, repeatedly. And it was so, I don't know, 10 nights or something. You have to sleep outside before they, or let you in, and you have to go back out to the gates. But the thing was, and the thing for coaching is basically you're pulling out the best of them inside of them already, getting them to answer all their own questions and all these other things that are already within them. You're unlocking them and their greatest potential, yada, yada, yada. And that's exciting. That's something that you share with the world. And that's like Christianity. That's like religion. Once you've unlocked some of the stuff that's in there inside of yourself, you're like, oh shit, I have got to let people know that there is God within, there's Jesus within, there's yada yada within. We got to share this. That's religion. Then you get to the point where they're like, you got to die or join us, then that's kind of messed up, right? Like that's where I think it's jacked up.
But I think that's a lot of that goes on. It's not even to that level of dying. It's you don't believe what I believe, so you're a dick. You know what I mean? That's how I feel a lot about this stuff. Is this is my reality, and if you don't agree with it, I'm going to argue with you and fight with you, and I'm going to be that person, which wears me out.
Yeah, it's not even worth it, though. You know what I mean? To me, it's not worth it. And that's
it's not worth it. It's a waste of energy. And I think a lot of this goes back to, and this is a big thing. This is one of my goals for the year, cheesy shit, but is authenticity.
Right.
I'm trying to be authentic as I possibly can be. So if I disagree with it, I disagree with it. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it.
Right.
I'm just trying to tell you, hey, this is what I think. This is what I feel. I mean, hell, this whole podcast, this whole video session we're doing is all about our opinions, and we don't give a shit what anybody else thinks. I think it's important.
I think that too, it's like you said earlier, Jeremy. It's like you don't give a shit and you don't care for that whatever today with the information that you have currently.
Correct.
Tomorrow you can be like, oh my God, you were totally right. I slept on it. I thought about it. And I'm like, dude, what you said was stellar.
I'm not married to any decision. I'm not married to anything. I'm married to the thought of growing and learning and being better and trying to figure this shit out, because, man, at the end of the day, this whole life thing and this reality thing is so big and so complicated. Who am I? You know what I'm saying? I've got my own opinions. I love life. I mean, I love everything about it, but man, my opinion shouldn't really, truly, I mean, maybe motivate someone to get up off their ass, but I'm not trying to change the way they live or what their beliefs are.
This also goes back to the science of getting rich and prosperity. You know, it's the best thing you can do is have a successful life so that you can lead by example. Right. And success being on your own terms, and success doesn't have to be the end all be all like goal for whatever. But again, in the science of getting rich, it's you are gaining dollars and cents. You guys are like going back and forth, man, on me. But the best part about the science of getting rich is like you're not trying to get rich just to live like a pig. You're getting rich to live life to its fullest expression, to say Adam wants to get a new mic so that he can amplify his vision across the universe, and not sound mechanic. Well, he can't be his true authentic self unless he has that mic. At least that's how he feels. And if he doesn't have the money or the currency to make that happen, then he's not going to be able to do it. That's it. That's the reason for making money, so that you can live your life to its fullest.
Interesting analogy on that, because I didn't actually buy a new mic. I just bought a mic boom arm. I also didn't buy the sound dampening things that we spoke of. I just hung hockey jerseys on the wall ahead of me to dampen the echo. So I've got a Rick Nash and a Wayne Gretzky jersey staring me in the face. So I made do, and that's a creativity issue. So wealth isn't money in this situation. Wealth is the desire to utilize my time accordingly. I could have just gone out and bought everything, but this also parlays into the other scenario where's the fun in that? I want a Green Bay Packers helmet, and I could just go out and buy one, sure, but there's no story to that. That's all right. It's a tough run. Hey, what are you gonna do? But it's not about having a helmet, and that's the entire world. I mean, when we talk about realities, when we talk about this sort of stuff, there are people out there that don't have the mental fortitude to interject a future or a past. They just see things that they have or don't have. There are people there are people that desperately want to win the lottery. Like they want to be rich. They don't want to get rich. And that's a huge drawback to them, because having the money, who cares about the money? Sure. You've got here's $10 million. Now what are you going to do?
Right.
You're gonna kick Jeremy off the show again. There, he's gone. See you soon, buddy. We'll see you soon.
He doesn't deserve this podcast.
That's right. So when
there goes Adam too. It's just me. Oh man. Well, we gave Lightstream a try, and that's what this was, guys. Just so everybody knows, we're using a software that is web based, and I'm definitely connected with a good connection. Let me know when you guys are back on. I can't see the screen.
I appear to be back.
I hear you.
I don't know what connection that is. I'm just gonna stick with blaming Jeremy because he's back now too.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean,
that's
I've got
reality
like
for me.
I
I'm
had
used to it.
300 up and 300 down in here. So, actually, it was 500 earlier. So, I think this has been an interesting one, guys. Definitely, we kicked around a lot of like different topics and nothing so singular. But I did want to, I want to throw it out there that we titled it. We're going to talk about the Master Key Program, which really kind of encompasses a lot of what we've been talking about here. And my favorite thing about some of the stuff that a lot of us are talking about and revisiting was written in like, the Master Key Program was like written in 1923 or 1912. Science of Getting Rich was written in 1911. A lot of this stuff, the Bible was written forever ago, and all this information, all this like, all the things that we're talking about right now have been around for a long time. And it's just the rediscovery of who you are that's really exciting. And I think you can find that in the Master Key Program. I think you can find that in a lot of these other books. I think that you can find that with just coaching. I think that, me going through coaching myself, that's, made these huge discoveries. The idea of consciously choosing to live my life, right? And first of all, like, baby steps, right? Making choices on purpose for like an intent, even if it's around the curvature of the earth, which may or may not even be, because we can't see around curves. But when we make a decision and we do it on purpose, with purpose, we feel like, there's some type of linearity, right? We feel like the outcome is the purpose and the reason that we're making this choice now.
You can see around the curve if you just zoom in a little. The curve goes away when you have better.
It flattens out.
So I knew that was going to get some reaction.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
But you know what? Just to put it out there too. Anybody that's listening to this and they listen to the Flat Earth debate, don't let that sour you. Let that resonate with you, because whether you believe it or not, be open to it. And that's right. Such a massive thing. Be open to everything. The worst thing anyone that's listening to this podcast can possibly be is closed-minded, because your life will be shit. The master key that Brandon was talking about, beware any new fundamentals. It's like buying a brand new antique. That shit doesn't happen. So when you talk about the master key, we talk about success, all of this stuff that we've been rambling on about between getting kicked out of the program and coming back into the program 1,000 times over. The conversation has been moderately congruent, and it all leads to we can think about whatever we want to think about the Rothschilds and the Queen and the Pope and the Catholicism, and the Green Bay Packers, which are absolutely awesome. We can think and talk about all of this stuff because the Bears do suck. So regardless of how we really want to move forward with all of that. He's gone. Cheap shot and he's out. I like that. This program's actually hilarious.
I'm taking my mic and going home.
Exactly. Let this program be a direct representation of what we're referring to. I mean, we are not by any means trying to be.
Oh, there goes Adam. When these guys get back and we're all three here again together, I think I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wind this one down. Appreciate you kind of hanging out and going through it with all of us. Again, Adam, and there's Jeremy's back. Jeremy, let's wrap this one up, brother. As soon as we have Adam back on.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and I think that's the biggest thing about this whole entire, video series that we're gonna start putting out there week to week. It'll get better, I promise you. It'll get better, I promise you. But I guess at the end of the day, it's just three guys, man. Hey, it was super open-minded and challenging the normal, man. Whatever the definition of normal is. I mean, what's normal? What's your normal? What's my normal?
I hate you. So listen,
that word in general is just a bunch of bullshit. Like,
that's the average, right? I mean, the normal is the average. Like,
one thing about us three is we're far from normal. Normal does not exist. That's not reality, and that's what brings this whole show back to quote unquote reality, is that we're not normal. Or whatever normal is. We are our own opinions.
Before I got kicked off the program, I was flat out saying that
we did that on purpose.
Did you say you were flat Earth saying?
But that's the whole point of it.
Saying exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean we're guys with challenging the normal, challenging your beliefs, and being open minded and thinking to yourself, hey, do I want to get better? Do I want to at least?
We're not challenging anyone's norms. We're literally just being ourselves. And anyone that's
there's no doubt about that.
Anyone that's listening to this is challenging themselves. So they're making the opportunity like this. They're making that conscious effort. And what I was saying was, even with all of us getting kicked out of here, this is a prime example of just do it. Just whatever it is you want to do, just do it. We're not trying to be anybody.
Press the button and go.
We're not.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's so many. You could tell yourself 1,000 stories as to why something can't get done, or you can just do it.
Right.
And that is the truth. When we talk about reality, Jeremy, I wanted to make fun of your Cubs, but regardless of that, I could say that like the best analogy with reality is the ball game. I'm at the ball game sitting next to you, and he's gone again with the Jays Cubs, right? Same ball game, same exact instance in life and in reality. Right? I'm a Jays fan. He's a Cubs fan.
Oh, there he goes. He's off again.
He's gone again. Yeah. Cubs win. Cubs win. I'm upset. There's my reality.
Let's wind it down when he gets back on again. If you can see the screen, So guys,
that was a quick one.
Let's wind it down. Let's say I would love to get some topics from anybody else who's watched this, anybody who made it to the end of this amazing Positive Prosperity Alliance episode. If you've got some topics you would like to hear us kick around, like a head in that old what was the game they used to play back in the in the old Incan days, right? If you lost and your head got kicked around. Anyways,
good story.
What game you get your head kicked around?
That was amazing. Story.
Right. So whatever topics you guys wanted to see us kind of take on, and that would be, you think, interesting to hear us taking on, you throw it out there at us. I would love to just kind of see where it takes us, because I think for the most part, the three of us probably center on a lot of the just kind of jump around the mindset, religions, and God, and reality, and that's fun.
Anything we're not supposed to talk about, we'll talk about.
Why we're getting kicked off?
Yeah.
Oh man! But guys, I'm gonna press the end the live button on the stream here. Thanks again, Jeremy, for hosting the Positive Prosperity Alliance on your page. We will go ahead and make another page set up. Adam's got a website. I don't know if it's live 100% yet, and you'll be able to find this episode on the Positive Prosperity Alliance if you go and check out iTunes or wherever the hottest and freshest podcasts are being served today. That's where you can find us.
Instagram TV tomorrow.
Amen.
Out, right?
You'll find it on YouTube too.
All over the place.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody. YouTube.